Hello, Jonathan Bone. Welcome to the Heysal podcast. How are you, man?
Fine, I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much for coming here. I know
You're
it's a very hot day in Rome. I know you're a very busy man.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're an entrepreneur deluxe.
Exactly. Well, trying. Working on it.
Right,
I'm working on it.
So tell me a bit about your background before we start off with the interview, and then about all the projects and all the things that you're working on at the moment, and then maybe what you're working on in the future. And let's just smooth into it and get people to know you a bit better. So where are you from, first of all? Are you?
Well, of course, I'm not 100% Italian. I was born in England, but I moved here when I was 6. And from there, I always lived in Italy. Prefer Italy. I like it better. Better weather, even if sometimes a bit hot, but...
Right.
And so I moved here with my mom in 91. Then just always lived here, studied all my school here. I went back to England to do 1 year in university, but then I left and just came back and basically got into the restaurant business when I was 15 for economical reasons, of course. Needed a side job to help out a bit at home, with the expenses and mortgages and stuff. And then just got stuck into it. I like the business. I like the atmosphere. I like working around people, working with different customers all the time, which is fun, entertaining. It's a very challenging job, of course. You're under a lot of stress, but it's always a lot of problem solving. So it's a really dynamic job.
Right. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the customer does not see.
There's always a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, like problems in the kitchens, staff not showing up. Always have to find a way to work around it.
Okay.
Which is stressful, but still I like it because it's what keeps you going,
Right.
It's what keeps you motivated.
So basically you started as a waiter, I suppose, or doing like...
I started off when I was 15. I knew this guy that owned this company, which is an American steakhouse company. I asked him, like, hey, do you need anyone to work over the summer? I just finished my first year in high school. He's like, oh, yeah, we're looking for some stuff. You want to go? I'll help you out find a job. He sent me over. I talked to the manager. He's like, okay, you start straight away. So you just give me the shirt and start cleaning all the tables. That's basically what I did for the first 3 years. I was just cleaning tables, taking off dirty plates, working at the bar sometimes. That's why I started getting more into the bar business too, cocktails and beers and spirits and all that. And then I slowly made my way up.
Right.
Started off as a manager in 2006 when they offered me the position as a co-manager actually in Trastevere there. It was a restaurant that just opened in Trastevere. And at the time I was still deciding if I want to go to university or not, because if I want to continue my studies. They offered me this job as a manager. I was like, okay, I like this business. I like this way of life and everything. I'm just going to keep on doing it and make my way create a career basically in this business, in this line of business. So I managed a restaurant for 2 years and apparently I was doing good. So they moved me off to a bigger restaurant, to then the most important restaurant, which is the one in Corso Francia, just a little bit north of Rome.
Right.
And which is a restaurant that works most. It's big restaurant. It's always packed and stuff. So that was a big challenge. Even if I must say it's actually much easier to manage a big restaurant that's working already than.
How so?
Well, because you already know you're going to be packed. So it's easy to do the staff shifts because you just pack the staff. When you have a restaurant that's not working very much, you have to be careful with the expenses. So you have to cut down the staff. You have to be like, okay, today are we going to work or not? So try and get all the costs in line, which is...
Okay.
And the food and beverage costs are much easier too, because you don't have anything to throw out, because you just use everything you buy. And you can order a lot of stuff, because anyway, you're going to sell it. Instead of when you have a restaurant that's still struggling, it's always hard, because you never know what you're going to sell and what you're not going to sell.
So how does it work? Do you order stuff every day?
Yeah, you try to,
for the day, or...
Basically, the idea is to order every day, apart from, of course, weekends, where you can only order on the Saturdays. And what happens is that, of course, if you have a restaurant that works a lot, you just order every day a lot of stuff, because then you're going to sell it. especially because if you're working with fresh products like meat or vegetables and stuff, it's easy to just work every day. You have the suppliers come in and bring you stuff. If you have a restaurant that's not working, if you don't have a meat that you sell that much that day, you have to sell it the day after. Of course, the meat lasts for like 5-6 days easily, but you still struggle a little bit, you know. And you have stuff that you don't sell that you have to throw out, and those are expenses for the company, of course.
Sure.
And it's a big company, so you have to like every month we have a meeting. We used to have a meeting like checking on all the like details of how the restaurant's going, and of course, as a manager, you're responsible for all those numbers. And so basically then I moved to the big restaurant. Then they offered me the job of like training manager. So I was training the new managers for the new openings. So I moved to Rimini for a couple of months, then Turin for like 6 months. Then after that, they offered me the position as food and beverage manager and operation manager. So managing, like supervising the whole company. So I was just basically going around doing quality checks, then creating the new menu, making deals with the suppliers to lower the prices and stuff and all that kind of stuff, and even like checking if the other managers were doing their job properly. So I did that. In the meantime, I had an offer as a business investment, which was the public house, from these two friends of mine, Flavio and James. And they're like, hey, dude, are you interested in investing? Like, we know you got your own job, but if you want to help us out, we'll invest and run the place. I did that. We invested, we opened the place, got the place in end of 2013, basically 2014, but it was like December, January. And after a year, I was a little bit fed up with the T-bone. I was working a lot. It was a lot of stress, a lot of hours, like 7 days.
On top of all the stress and hours that you had to put into your own place.
Exactly, because
into your own business.
The public house was, of course, it was a new opening and down the road, just a new name and everything. So it was a little bit struggling at the beginning. And so I decided to leave T-bone and to concentrate all my energies on my own business.
Right.
And even because I always wanted to have my own business, basically. It was like something that I was trying to grow into, and I wanted the experience to run my own business, because I think it's stupid to open a business when you don't have experience in that kind of
field. Yeah, as
field.
many people do.
A lot of people now in Rome actually do that. Like, there are a lot of people that want to invest money, so they like go into the restaurant business, because it's like, it's one of those businesses where you have the money at the end of the day, basically.
Right.
You have customers, they come in, they pay, and you get your money. So you don't have to be waiting like 60 days for the payments. You don't have to be like working with the government when you get paid, who knows when.
Or if.
if you get paid, exactly. Right. And so it's one of those businesses that actually attracts a lot of investors. But then they're not experts in that kind of field. And that's why many of them fail straight away. Like in a year or two, they fail because they put wrong people in charge, make mistakes. You need experience.
So would you say that it was valuable for you to start really, really low in the whole command chain?
I think it was fundamental.
Yeah?
I think it was fundamental because it gives you that... you've basically done all kind of jobs. So you've worked in the kitchen, I worked as a waiter, I worked as a bar. I've been washing dishes for the first 2 years when there was someone missing in the kitchen, so they'll just put me to wash the dishes and stuff. So
it does give you an appreciation of every step along the ladder, right?
Exactly, and then you always have respect for everyone that's working for you.
Right.
Because what I see in many managers is like they have the dishwasher, they don't have respect for them because they're like, oh yeah, just the last one of the chain, and it's not true, because I really believe that everyone's important at the same amount, from the manager to the dishwasher. Everyone has to cover their role.
Right.
And as a manager, your objective is to keep the group like all together and just be the leader of the group, you know. And to be that, you need to be like respectful for the jobs, and you need to know how to do every role. Because if you have to be teaching people how to do things, you have to be the first one that has done it.
It has to know it, yeah, right.
So I think that was... I didn't think about it at the time when I was 20 and they offered me the position as manager. I wasn't thinking like, okay, I'll do this so I can reach my goal. I was just going with the flow, you know, and just like, okay, I'm going to take one step at a time. I was working really hard, made a lot of sacrifice, of course, because at the time when they offered me the position as manager, my first step was I wanted to know everything, how it worked in the kitchen. So what I used to do is like used to just go in the morning without them asking me to, or without getting paid for it and stuff. and just work in the kitchen and try and learn everything I could from the kitchen.
So you really showed initiative.
Yes.
On your own.
And yeah, initiative and sacrifice at the end, because it was my free time, if you think of it. Like, instead of, I don't know, going to the beach, I would just go in, and so I was working 7 days a week, basically, without them even asking. But I already knew that if I had to be the manager, I had to be the one that knew everything about everything.
What kept you going right in the beginning when you did not really have the bigger picture goal yet about running a business? Because you said for 2-3 years you basically cleaned and did waitering and stuff.
Well, I started off because, of course, I needed the money.
Okay.
And when I started off, it was we still had the leader, so I was actually being paid really well for like a 15-year-old.
Okay.
And so it was even nice.
So money was a big motivator, of course.
At the beginning, yes, of course, because you're 15, 16, all your friends are like having their little like money that their parents give them. I was going around like buying stuff. Oh, let's buy this. Oh, I was buying drinks for everyone, buying food, like bringing people out for dinner, because of course I was making good money because I was working basically full time. I was like working 5 days a week. In the morning I'll go to school and finish late at night. Sometimes I wouldn't even go home. I'll just wait outside of the school and just go to school directly, you know. And money was a big motivator at the beginning because we needed it. Like, and
money was freedom too. It's not just about accumulating money, but going out with friends and doing what you want is freedom in the end. Right?
And especially at that age, you're like, oh, this is paradise for me, you know. Even when you go on your little holidays, you can like afford anything you want, basically, because it's fun. Of course, when you grow up, you have different expenses, different motivations. But when they offered me the position as manager, didn't care about the money at that point anymore. I really just wanted to be successful and create a career for myself, because at that point I decided I didn't want to study, so I was not going to create a career through studies. I was just going to be like, okay, I'm going to give the best of myself so I can create my career here and grow in this company, which actually happened, but a little bit for luck. Of course, I'm not saying it's all me, because I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time. You know, that restaurant, which they offered me a job as manager, I happened to be there because I just came back from England. I was like, are you looking for anyone full-time for a couple of months? They're like, yeah, we're looking for a person for our new opening. So I went
Did you know these guys before when they contacted you, or were they friends, or did they just contact you out of the blue through contacts?
What, T-Bone?
No, later at the public house.
Oh, yeah, I knew James because he used to work in Campo di Fiori in the bars there. So we are kind of friends already. I got to know Flavio, that my other business partner, afterwards because he was friends with James. So there was like this little thing going on here. And I was like, well, I like James. I always like James. Flavio, I didn't know him. I like him now, of course.
It was James who got us into... He was our first contact with the public house back then.
Yeah, I remember. And then I got to know Flavio afterwards, which I actually really like, and I'm really happy about having him as a partner. Because I really believe that trust is the most important thing as a partnership, and I really 100% trust him. So on that point of view, I'm actually really relaxed, which is a big deal. So you can easily concentrate on all the other stuff without worrying about the trust of your partner, you know, of your business partner. And so that's basically what happened. And then now my objective is to keep on growing.
Right.
So my first objective was to open new restaurants and new businesses. But past year, I've really been thinking of going into consultancy. So to work as a consultant, because of course it doesn't require you doing big investments on restaurants, which you never know how they go. And I really believe I have enough expertise and enough contacts now to be able to help other people, you know, run their own business successfully. Well, successfully. You never know if you're going to be 100% successful.
There are never guarantees, of course, yeah.
Yes, but I really believe that if you manage to make some minor adjustments, like on the service, from small details to the quality of the food or to the prices, and just be right, I think you can work, because people do appreciate that.
So what are the biggest mistakes that people make when they open a bar? Because very often, probably at some side of it is the money, so people just want to invest and want to make quick cash.
Yeah.
And I think personally, I believe that a lot also has to do with this romantic idea. So you get together with the bros and
well,
you
it's nice to be,
create
you
your
know,
own
the
space,
restaurant owner for friend. Oh, let's go and see that guy. He's the owner. I know this friend of mine. He's the owner of the place. Yeah, I never really liked that. I never really cared about that.
But I almost fell into it myself. You know, it's a romantic idea.
Yeah.
But then once you
it's like the famous idea of opening a bar on the beach. I've tried that and it doesn't work. It's not
right. That's another story.
It's not a paradise.
I totally want to get into that later.
And well, the biggest mistake, it's not mistakes, it's just like probably miscalculations. You have to understand what your clientele is, but it's really hard to understand because you never know. Like you can think like of an area, so you're in the city center, you can be like, okay, I'll be working with tourists, but what are tourists actually looking for? Like, it's hard to... I think the best thing is always to give a good quality. Because that, unless you're like, I don't know, on the main street or near Fontana di Trevi, of course, you're just going to have people going in, like,
no matter what.
There are like thousands of people there throughout the day. So you're going to be catching people from everywhere and you can just give them whatever. And that's what's happening now in Rome with the restaurant.
It's a sad trend, though, to give them just whatever, I suppose.
Well, they're all going into now these pre-cooked meals, you know, and which, of course, are low on quality. They keep the prices high anyway. It's not like they're going to make you... Because even buy their stuff is actually expensive. It's more expensive than making your own pasta, for example, you know?
Really?
Yeah. It's like twice as more expensive, so your food costs are actually higher.
So what's the motivation then? Just volume?
Yeah, just volume at that point. Just go. It's like a bit like the McDonald's concept. Right. Like you earn a little bit on every burger, but when you're selling like thousands of them, you make good money.
Okay.
Good money. I don't know, but I don't know about
Somebody
that.
does.
Somebody does. Yeah.
At the end of the chain.
Exactly. And yeah, so I really believe that if you want to open a place, if you give them good quality, service for me is fundamental. For me, this for service is fundamental because the service is the one that actually makes a difference at the end of the night. Because people now, when you go out, you go out not just because you need to feed off stuff and just eat, because you can do that easily at home. You go out for the whole experience. So you want to have a good time. You want to be relaxed. You're with your friends or your girlfriend or whatever. You want to just be. So it's really important to have to give a good service, because at the end of the night, if you give a really good service and say, for example, they didn't like the quality of the food or anything, that's going to shift you on a positive review, on a positive idea of your restaurant, because the service, they're like, oh, the waiter was nice though. You see, they give us like a free little shot. It's just like small details like that, which then make it make the whole experience.
So service translates into staff.
Well, staff, yes.
And how they behave and how they interact with the customers.
Yes. Well, staff, yeah, basically that. How quick the kitchen is. If the kitchen is overloaded and people are waiting 40 minutes, they're going to be upset. So even if you wait 40 minutes and you have the best pasta of your life, you're still going to be upset about it.
Right.
So you're going to go out of that restaurant with a negative feeling of it, you know. And negative feelings are much quicker to go around than positive feelings.
Of course.
So it's just a bad thing. Everything is just bad at that point. So it's really important. So even there, if, say, for example, you have problems with the kitchen and the customers are waiting, just go and give them something free, like give them a little like appetizer snack, like, and just tell them, like, be honest about it, because I don't think it's that bad. Like, just be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're having some problems. We'll give you some free samples. And
that's the one thing that pisses me off the most very often is just a lack of feedback. Because just the waiting without knowing what's going on. It happened the other day on the Giardinetti, actually. It's the yellow train that starts behind Termini Station and it goes all the way to Centocelle. And it just stood there for 15 minutes without moving stupidly, just, you know. And then at some point, actually, I appreciated one guy working there came, was like very Roman way of yelling at people about what's happening. Like, we have to wait that the tracks are being freed. It's going to happen eventually. You know?
That's important too. Like, of course, that's a public service, so you can't complain, but you're still going to need to take that public.
You need
service.
feedback. I mean, it's like clicking on a menu on a computer and nothing happens for 15 minutes. Like, at least you need the spinning beach ball on the Mac or whatever, like, or watch. You know, you need that.
That's why they have it. That's why I think they have that like spinning thing on Microsoft and computers. But yeah, so I think that's really important in the restaurant business.
How do you ensure though that the staff has that attitude and has that?
It's not easy. That's why I think that's the most difficult part.
Because I see so many places in Rome where they don't look into your eyes, where they don't give a shit about you, where they even in front of you kind of insult you. You know, like with the behavior, like being on the phone with, not even looking at you while they serve you, while they give you change, while they do anything. It's just really like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hide.
I'm just doing
I don't want to hide the fact that I don't want
to
to be here. I don't like you. I don't want to hide the fact that I don't like you. So, you know, deal with it.
Unfortunately, it's really hard. You have to be careful selecting your staff, keeping them motivated. Because that's even true, because most of these people that work in the restaurant business are always underpaid. So how do you get...
So there's also anger on their side, which
exactly.
It's understandable.
Unconsciously, yes.
way,
because
yeah.
they're like, okay, I'm doing this job for like, I don't know, €5 an hour. Who cares, you know? You do have that kind of effect. And I've seen that happen many times, like in restaurants, and people are like, I don't care about this job anyway. I'm just getting paid €5 an hour. If they fire me, I'll just find another one. Because anyway, it's not
Right.
that. So it's always good to keep them happy economically, and keep them motivated, even psychologically. Like that depends on the manager. Like the manager has to be good to keep the staff like motivated, treat them with respect. That's important, because if they don't feel respected, they're not going to work properly. And you have to choose the right people, of course. Like that's, you can't know, because many times you see people and you're like, oh, this is going to be a really good waiter, you know, and he's going to be a good addition. Then you find out after 3-4 months that he's not the good person. Like he goes crazy sometimes, he has issues and stuff, and then you've hired him now and you can't get rid of him, because that's another issue with
Italian law.
With Italian law, yes. And so that's important for restaurants. Quality, because quality is easy. Like you can get a good chef because does good pasta.
Right.
A lot of places in it, especially in Rome, you have good food. So what makes a difference? Of course, the location, and of course, like how it's like all set up. But I really believe that in service is the one that at the end.
I totally agree. I mean, I noticed that with places that over time have changed because the staff has changed, and sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Yeah.
But it's really the people working there who make the difference. Definitely. Yeah.
Because anyway, especially Rome, but no, I think everywhere. Like we are very, we tend to go to the same restaurants basically. So once you find a nice restaurant, we tend to go there.
Stick with it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know you're gonna get that quality for that price and that service. So you just like stick with it.
Right.
So yeah, so it's all about building your customers. Of course, I make the example before, Futta and Trevi, they don't care because they've got like 10,000 new people every day from everywhere in the country, and which is a shame because Rome used to be famous for like their good restaurants everywhere. Like in Italy, used to be famous. Like, oh, let's go to Rome. Wherever you go to eat outside in the center, you eat good food, like good Roman food. And it's not like that anymore. Like there's so many bad restaurants that just take advantage of the tourists. Yeah.
In the center. Like
in the center,
you still have to drive out of Rome because.
No, there are still good restaurants in the center too, but you have to know them. You have to know which ones to go to before you could basically go into nearly every restaurant and you'd eat at least decently. Like eat well. I've been to restaurants that I used to go to like sometimes that are like good restaurants. Now I've been in the past few times and they're like awful. Pasta's done wrong, it's done badly. You can just see that they don't care about the food quality and the service anymore.
And they're just getting cheaper chefs that
and because they know that they're going to be full of tourists. They know they're going to have their customers coming in, so they don't even care of doing that extra effort, you know, to give them a good experience, which is a shame. It's like for me, I really like the restaurant business. I really like people like trying hard and trying to give something different, give them something more. The competition too, because that creates competition. I think it's important.
So if the staff has to be motivated, let's say, how do you motivate the staff? How do you motivate yourself to motivate the staff? Because I understand in the beginning you were also doing 2 jobs at the same time. Basically, you were running your own business. Yeah. Starting. Well, how long was the transitional time?
Well, the transition basically, I was doing a new opening for the T-Bone in Rome. I was still, so what happened is that the manager they chose was not a good manager, so I had to like cover for the manager position in that restaurant, but still had to do all my other jobs in the office, like, and do the quality checks. So I was basically working 7 days a week, all from 9 in the morning till like 1 at night every day. And it was just getting too stressful, too much. Okay. I already had my own business, which was a little bit struggling. At that point, I just like, okay, I'm leaving this. I'm going into my own business so I can have my own hours, do the stuff as I want things to be done, and just be the boss of yourself, basically, you know? And which is actually nice, especially when you do that kind of transition when you're working a lot and then you just can decide to, you organize your own life. So if you want to have a weekend off, you can still take it, which is important, you know, just to be happy about your life, because that's one of the things that makes it important, because if you're not happy over your life, you're not going to be happy on your job, you're not going to be happy about anything. So you're not going to be happy with your staff too. So that's one thing. So a good manager always has to have a
Find
well-balanced
some time for yourself, for your
yes.
own life.
It can't be. That's one
Private
mistake.
life.
That's kind of not a mistake, but I was going into that, making that mistake where I was just like, all my life was all thrown into the restaurant business. So I lost a lot of friends, girlfriends, a lot of contacts with the family, you know, all that,
Right.
because I was just 100% concentrated on the restaurant business. I was like working every day, giving 100% of myself just for that, which helped me out on a point of view of experience
Right.
and on my personal, like professional growth. But on my personal growth, it wasn't like, it was like, I was starting to get a little bit, not depressed, but I was like, okay, so I'm now 30, you know, working all day. My friends are, like, I have friends, thousands of them because of working in the restaurant business, but they're not actually, like, they're just people
Like
you know, you hang out with, they're
acquaintances,
fun, I like
right.
them all. But it's not actual friends. It's not like you have that kind of group of people. I lost a bit of that, which is okay now. I've learned to live.
I guess it's also an ongoing process that you still learn as you go along, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that we have now learned everything and everything's fine from now on. It's like we still have to learn a lot, I suppose.
Yeah,
So moving
exactly.
forward.
No. So
Like we also talked about the meditation, if you remember, for example. I think that was probably in that period when...
that's when I started doing meditation, yes.
so you're still doing it?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Still do it like nearly every day, basically.
Still the same one? Like still Headspace or...
No, I just do it by
Switch to
myself
something
now.
else. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just
You,
like
you already mastered all the skills.
well, not massive, but yeah. No, I like it. I actually find it really, really useful. It really helps me a lot throughout the day. Just that 15 minutes where you just clear your mind and you just feel differently afterwards once you finish. Sometimes I even do it at night when I come back if I have time, you know. You can easily do it even 5 minutes on the bus or...
And the great thing is after a few years it becomes automatic. You don't even think about that you're doing it anymore.
You don't even... Yeah, exactly. Like
it's like
sometimes...
the way you breathe.
Yeah.
You just breathe in a more profound
No, it's
way
true.
and connect.
Because I notice it like when I'm on the bus, I just stand there and I'm kind of meditating. Eyes open, of course, but you don't have to be like in the position like legs crossed and all
Right,
that stuff.
yeah.
It's just more like a mind thing and the breathing. And I realize I actually do it automatically sometimes. I'm just like standing there, just relax, let the thoughts flow.
Right, yeah.
And I find it really useful, that actually. It just keeps you calm throughout the day. When you have problems, you don't get nervous that much as you used to.
Right.
You know, there's many positive aspects.
And
of
apparently
it.
it rewires your brain like physically.
Yeah.
Like it really changes the way your brain is structured, apparently. So it
I
really,
really
the
enjoyed
stress,
it.
like the
And I
stress
started
area.
because you told me about it that day.
Yeah, I think I heard about it from a podcast actually. So it's
Okay, you see.
podcast
It's all a
can
circle.
share the knowledge. Oh yeah.
And what were we talking about? I can't remember.
Before
the
motivation, keeping the
motivation.
motivation up. Private life.
Private
balance.
life is important because you need a balanced private life. That's what I believe. A balanced private life and professional life is important. So you can't have too much of a personal life because otherwise you're not professional enough. You
Right.
can't have too much of the other because otherwise you just don't feel you're satisfied with your life.
I guess it's also like not a fixed relation between the two of them. Like it changes probably if there's more need for
Yeah, you can shift
in
them around,
certain
yeah.
periods of your life that you invest more time into your business, I suppose, you know.
Yeah.
For
It's
a few
important
weeks,
not to forget that you still have people.
and then come back then to the normal balance.
Exactly.
Right.
No, I do that quite often actually. Like I have like a month or two, I'm just like go back into working. Like this month, I'm going to be taking another job, a side job, because they asked me as a like consultancy, like to help them out with a restaurant. And so I'll be doing both. Like I'll be working at my place, working there in the morning. So this
Right.
for July, I'm not going to have a personal life basically. But that's okay because after that,
But you know that
I'll
after
shift
that-
it back. Yeah, it's not easy all the time, but
I guess also helps to have an understanding partner in that whole regard. I
Yes,
suppose
that's
that's a very important element. That's
important.
That's what I found. That sometimes you do the same things with a different partner, and in some situations it works, and with the other partner maybe does not. So,
well, it really depends who you have next to you. Yeah.
so you're really lucky if you find somebody who
Yeah.
supports you in every sense of the word.
I must say I'm lucky. So,
I know you're a lucky man.
and so first off, the manager needs to be motivated, and if he's motivated, he has to be able to motivate all the rest of the staff. Which is by even simple things like giving them a break sometimes when they're not expecting it. You know.
Okay.
I don't know if they've had a good shift where they're working a lot, just give them like an extra break and like, oh, go and smoke an extra cigarette, or I don't know, get a free shot, or small things like that. And they
So the
always
staff is allowed to drink behind the bar?
Not really, but like if it's one drink which is authorized by the manager, it's
Okay.
fine.
So you guys listening? There
And
you go. Only if it's authorized.
only if it's authorized. Now my staff is allowed to have a drink,
Oh.
one drink throughout the shift, which is fair. And shots, because unfortunately we have customers that are like, oh, I'll buy you shots. And
Okay,
stuff.
it's part of the game. What you gonna do?
Exactly, so they have to do that. It's part of their job.
Okay.
So I can't complain.
All
I
right.
can't say anything. And yeah, so even by small things like that, you can manage to keep your staff motivated because they like appreciate the fact that you actually they see that you care about them, you know. And so they I think they automatically feel they would give more for you because you give them like it's
Right.
This, you know.
So you also see if they have a down day and kind of care.
Of course, then
for the
if you get
problems,
bad
if they want to
staff,
share.
they're not
it.
going to care anyway and just take advantage of it, and
Sure.
you just have to get rid of that people and just
Okay.
try and create your team. You know, it's important to have a team. Team building is important too. Like a little bit outside sometimes, go out for a drink.
Ah, you're right. I saw that sometimes you have these pool parties and stuff.
Or pool parties or Ferragosto parties and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I think that's important because it creates, you know, people feel. Of course, sometimes you can have other effects where people start arguing and stuff, but
At least these things come out, though, right?
yeah, at least it's outdoor. Yeah,
I think once it's on the surface, at least you can deal with it.
yeah,
Like if the worst is probably well, or maybe you can try to deal with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I guess it's better than people hiding things behind and
inside
building up. You know.
Yeah. But so yeah, team building is important too, even if not too much, because you shouldn't be like getting too much friendly with your staff, but you don't want to be too much detached, you know.
Right.
Having a little bit of balance. They need to respect you. They need to know that you're the one that if they have a problem, you're going to be the one solving it. If they have, I don't know, some how can I say? If they need to know that if that you're able to do their job and you can teach them to do their job, and that they see you as their leader. Exactly.
Right.
And that helps a lot because then they'll always make an extra effort for you. Always, well, hopefully. But usually that happens anyway. That's how I saw it. That's what happened throughout my career as manager. Like I always try and create straight away my team, like, you know, keep them motivated. Even by just like, especially when I was working the one in Corso Francia, which was always packed. So like Saturday nights, you were completely packed. There was like 100 people outside waiting in queue for tables. It's a lot of stress. So they're all working under a lot of stress. So even if you just go around and like joke with them, like for a second, just say a joke or be stupid a bit, just take a little bit of stress off. They know that they can see that you're helping them out. Like, you know,
Right.
if they have any problems, you'll be there to take their hand, you know. That's important.
Yeah, I guess it's probably a character thing because not everybody under stress functions that way, you know?
No, of
Because
course.
many people that are a little bit under stress, they become really aggressive and defensive.
I've seen that many times, yes.
Yeah.
Like from managers, I've seen that happen from managers. In fact, it's always a problem because then that reflects on the staff,
Right.
and then that reflects on the customers, and so everyone's just nervous basically, and
Right.
they didn't
And
work
everyone's
well, they
miserable.
didn't have a good time eating, and it's just bad. Yeah,
Horrible.
to be a good manager, you have to be able to control your feelings and, you know, stuff them down and just keep relaxed because you always know you're doing it for the better good of the whole restaurant.
Right. You think there's something you learn after time with experience too, or is it more connected to your character? And
I think it's a bit both. It has to be part of your character too, I think. Because, yeah, it's something that it's really hard to master, you know, to be able to do that. But you slowly do get better at it, but it takes more time, of course. So I think if you have a good character in that point of view where you're very like relaxed, but like calm and patient, because that's important to be patient too. You can't just like flip at people because they did something wrong or the glass fell and you're like, what did you do? You know, that's not good because he's gonna be like resented, and then next time he's just gonna be like, hang on, I need to bring this glass, and just instead he just has to be relaxed. You know?
Right.
Unless of course he's breaking 10 glasses a night, then you're like, okay, I'm sorry, this is not the job for you. Just find something else, of course.
Sure.
There's the other side to it.
So you also tried once, I remember, to open a bar on the beach, as you said before.
In a exotic
Now, it was not
place.
just any beach.
in Zanzibar.
It was Zanzibar.
Yeah.
How the heck do you get the idea to open a bar on a beach?
Well, it was actually a restaurant
in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
A restaurant.
Well, basically, I have a friend of mine that's living there. He's opened a little bed and breakfast, and he called me one summer. He wanted to start a restaurant, but he has, of course, he has a huge terrain. Like he has this bed and breakfast, a huge terrain where he's building and doing like small bungalows. And his idea was to build a swimming pool and a restaurant in his property and make it into like a small resort.
Okay.
And so he called me and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come and see, like, just even come and take a holiday and see what you think of it? We can make business together. It's a good business to be made here and all that." So I was like, okay. I went for a week just to see, just have a holiday basically.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, I think this could be a good idea because, of course, over there everything is cheap, but you're still charging basically the same prices that you charge over here in Europe.
Okay.
But with like 1/10 of the expenses. So it is good money to be made down there. And so
that would be for tourists, probably, not for locals.
Just for tourists, yeah. No, you don't work with. That's just for tourists,
right.
Like 100% tourists. And so I went back again. I was like, okay, let's start figuring this out. And there was a place next to his place, which was a restaurant, like really big place. It was like 2 floors, all in wood. You know, they're like with the like makuti, which is the palm roofs and stuff, like really traditional. Really nice. So it had this big place, a kitchen, and had like a big car park with a camel on it. I don't know, for some reason. I even had a camel. And so I was like, okay, why don't we take that place, which is already like all set up, instead of waiting to build a restaurant in your place, which is going to take us a while. And the guy that owned it, which was from Rome, he's Roman.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't want it. He didn't want to stay there anymore. He just didn't want it anymore. So we contacted him and like made a deal with him to get this place. But of course, I got like a trial period of like 4 months, and so I started that place. I opened it up, but then I realized that's even worse than what I was doing over here. It's like 7 days a week. You're just in there from morning to night. Like, we open at 11 because you have some first people coming for a drink, you know, that people on the beach come for a drink and stuff, and just be open all day until like midnight. And you're basically in there 7 days a week, and you're not getting out of that. Like, that's what you do. You can make good money. Of course, I had other issues because basically what happened, they closed off the beach because they started constructions. And so I didn't have that tourist flow anymore. And luckily it happened right before my trial period was ending. So
right.
I just managed in time to like block the whole deal and
Get
like, okay, trial period is over, I don't want it, I'm going back to Italy and it's fine. And that's actually what happened. I just left it and just went back. I lost a little bit of investment, which was like €1,000 or something, which wasn't that bad.
But why was it worse than here? Like, why would you have to stay there longer hours? Just because you were open longer, or is there something
No,
different?
it's just because you
about
have to be
there?
there all day. You can't. Unfortunately, there's not a situation where you can get managers and stuff. Like,
so
you're
no
the
trustable
owner, you have the local people working for you, and basically you're doing everything by yourself. Local people, they're not going to be motivated like they are over here. They're just doing it for the money.
Okay.
It's a whole situation that's a little bit different, you know.
Are you saying in Rome people are not doing it for the money?
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, it's a different way. They don't care about the job. They don't care about career. They don't care about anything. They just want the money at the end of the day to survive and have their family and survive and all that. It's a different kind of concept of the lifestyle, totally. Like here, you work because you want to create a career. You want to like grow in our kind of society. They have a different kind of lifestyle where they live in their little villages. They don't have water. They don't have electricity.
What's the political situation there right now? Because I know not so much about.
Well, it's Tanzania. Tanzania is quite a stable country from what I know. I'm don't really know much about it. I know that there's a.
Did you read a bit about it before you went there the first time?
Yeah. Oh, well, I did. It seemed nice because, of course, you have these beautiful white sand beaches with beautiful water, and you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to be working at the bar. You can go down at the beach. The last 2 months, I never even went to the beach, not even once, because you never had time. Like, you just go to sleep, wake up, and work. Go to sleep, wake up, and work. I was like, I'm not going to do this lifestyle. Even if it would have been, like, kind of good money. But then when I realized that they were doing all those constructions, that would have required at least another year and a half until they finish all that stuff they were doing. Of sacrifice of just being there, working a little bit, and it is always a tough situation. Like, you're still living on an island where half of the week electricity goes off, so you don't have the kind of all like the comforts that you have over here, you know. So, like, I don't know if I can live like that, you know. Like, probably if I'm 50 and I'm like kind of retired, 55, I can just move there and live the rest of my days there, but not now. No. I still had a different like perspective for myself.
Right.
Like I'm an entrepreneur. I need to grow. I need to make my business and do other things, and I don't want it just to be stuck down there.
Okay.
It's a much more relaxed lifestyle, if you must say. Like you just walk around barefoot. You don't care about like how you dress. They don't care about anything. Like it's much more relaxed on a point of view. But then, I had different objectives for my life.
Are there any entrepreneurs that kind of inspired you doing what you do, or any other events that helped you along your path to becoming an entrepreneur and doing what you do, or is it all from the experience that you drew from your previous occupations and projects and successes and failures?
Well, I don't know. I always found a lot of inspiration by the guy that opened, what is it called? Italy. Oscar Farinetti.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was a guy that was completely in a different business. He was working for the like electronic. He owned part of the electronic department stores, and I can't remember which one it was. Then he sold his shares and everything. He like for 2 or 3 years he just like studied the restaurant business without investing, without doing nothing.
Like for everybody who doesn't know, Italy is like this kind of huge food chain.
Well, it's like it's a weird thing because it's like a supermarket with like high quality food,
right?
But they still have all the little islands where they cook and prepare stuff. So you even go there to eat.
It's a very strange place, I must say.
Well, the one here in Rome is completely different, but the original one, which is up in Turin, is like big. It's one floor. It's a big supermarket, like with big spaces, and they just have these small little islands where you're walking around doing your shopping, and then you can grab a burger or grab a palette of pasta and just eat there and then leave. A lot of people, of course, just go in there to eat because it's all like top quality foods and good stuff. And I liked his idea of like how he invested in the restaurant business. Like, okay, I'll sell all the good products because he has all like. Of course, it's expensive, but it's working because they've opened in New York. They've opened, I think, in Tokyo too.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've been. It's been opening everywhere now, and the one here in Rome is always packed too. And it's like even now become a touristic attraction.
We went also here in this place a few years ago, right, where McDonald's was, Piazza della Repubblica. Or are they still there? There used to be a huge McDonald's in that corner, and I think they went in there too.
I'm not sure. The Repubblica has something similar. Oh no, Repubblica. Sorry,
Piazza della Repubblica.
There was a McDonald's there, wasn't there? Yeah.
There used to be a huge McDonald's, but I think they kicked him out, or they maybe just didn't want to be there anymore. Or
I'm not sure about that. What happened that? No, I'm not sure. But anyway, I got a lot of his always liked his story, like how he was doing different business, and he always said a famous phrase like, if you study one sector for like enough, you'll at one point find a breakthrough of something successful. But you have to study it and actually have to apply and dedicate yourself to it. It's not you just like open a restaurant and okay, I'll make money. No, it's not going to work. That's why what I was saying before. You have to be like really concentrated and dedicate a lot of time to what you want to do. Study it and
set clear goals, I suppose.
Yeah,
like
that's important.
On
too.
Milestones too.
Yeah, exactly. That's too really important. And yeah, it's always. But all the rest was always because I always wanted to be my own boss, basically.
Be your boss. So. Well, how do you deal with Italian bureaucracy?
I got used to it probably. So yeah? I don't really.
So you don't really see it as any obstacle at all. Just
of course it is an obstacle. Like there's a lot of there is a lot of like issues, like a lot of problems when you need to go and request for a permit or when you need to pay taxes and stuff. There's always like a lot of flaws. I just know that I'm gonna have to find a way to work around with it and work with it. So it's just part of my job, basically. I just consider it part of my job now. I don't even consider it as a hassle anymore.
So do you take care also
of this is what I do.
Okay.
So it's just.
So you also take care of the administrative part of the whole business, or do you have a commercialista? And
we have a commercialista, which is accountant, which takes care of all the like official
paperwork.
Not official, but all the paperwork that is then presented to the Agenzia d'Entrate and all that. But I still do have all my own administrative area for like all the statistics and that me and Flavio always fill up like statistics on how much you're making, how much are the food costs, how much is the per staff cost and all that.
Are you big on trends like statistics?
A little bit. I always liked it. That's what I used to do a lot when I was at T-Bone. I always used to be analyzing all the statistics. Like every week we'll have a meeting analyzing the statistics of all the restaurants. And we were actually pretty good at that. Because at one point we could manage like determine we'll be like, okay, so next week you're gonna make more or less this amount of money. The week after you'll be making less because there's this happening, or making more because there's this other thing happening. And we were actually pretty accurate on it. So there is like always a little trend. Of course, it's not.
Well, that's
perfect.
the power, the predictive part of it is the real good one.
But then some places are really hard to predict, because then you have like, I don't know if you remember what happened in France when there were the terrorist attacks. The tourists just like all canceled their trips to Europe and stuff, especially Americans. And so there was like, from that you had all the hotels that were supposed to be nearly full, they were like all empty. And so of course that influence. So you have always these like small. You have these events which will influence which you cannot predict, of course. But basically you can predict more or less a trend, which is like always shifting, but you do see more or less what you're going to be making.
I mean, your business, the public house, is in a very peculiar location because it's right in the center. Like it can't get more central than that. But then it's like
a little bit
one
hidden.
Street hidden away, like next to it. So
at the beginning I was like, it's a bit hidden. I don't.
Right.
But now I actually like it like that, because it's more like not exclusive, but you have that. That's your area. That's your thing. So people. But it is true that you have to get people coming there just for you.
Right.
It's not like opening in an area where there's like 10 bars, so people will be just like going from one bar to another. So it does make it hard on a point of view. But then I really think that I like it. I prefer it. Like. Because that's our place, that's where we are, so people have to come there, and you have that situation where you can relax. It's a very relaxed area, you know. It's not, there's not too much traffic. Of course, business-wise, it would be probably better to open on our main street, but of course, it'll be even more expensive because high rents and stuff. So
of course,
you have a little bit of both. It's good because we have a lot of hotels, so you have a lot of tourists in the area, so you get all the tourists coming around. Of course, during the winter, when there's less tourism, you work less.
Right.
But I like it because you have a mixture of like tourists and locals that come to the place, so you have that mixed vibe. I always like working with tourists, because I always like chatting with people from different countries, like from, I don't know, America, Australia, Japan, wherever. And I always found that entertaining, because you just like share your cultures, you know.
The atmosphere is just different. I mean, there are many Italian places that are mostly locals, and that's great too. But if you want to have some kind of different atmosphere,
and I really believe that
international
tourists
bars
know how to have fun much more than Italians.
Yeah,
so, they like going out drinking. Well, they're more relaxed. They're like, you just see them. Of course, they get drunk, so that's they're always drinking. So that's easy, of course. But they even like, they're more open about having fun. Like they'll just, even they have music, they'll just start dancing and stuff.
Right.
Italians are a little bit more like set back. They're like,
why do you think that is though? Is it like, has it to do with the image, being judged, and
I think so.
judging others?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like very deeply ingrained in culture. That's
yes, I believe that, because Italians, unless they're in a discotheque, they were like in a proper disco, they will not like start dancing and stuff, unless of course they're drunk too. But
right.
So I think that happens. But like, I'm English, so I go so often to pubs, regular pubs in England. They're just all people like drinking beers. But you go to other, it's even the fact that they even just start chatting to each other, which is things that Italians don't do much.
Why is that though? I mean, you're basically you're in between cultures, because you're half British, right?
Yeah.
And half Italian. So
I don't know. It's weird, because like, if I go to a bar in England, a pub in England, and I'm sitting by myself, and there's a guy sitting by himself, and I just like, I'll start chatting, you'll be happy, and we just start chatting, then another guy comes along, he gets into this guy, and everyone's just, and that happens often at the pub too, at the public house, because you have all these tourists. Of course, they're tourists, so they're even on holiday, so it makes it even easier. But you get English, like, start talking to these other English people, and they just, let's have a drink together. And Italians don't tend to do that. They don't do that at all. Like, if you walk in a pub in Italy and you're by yourself, and there's a guy by himself, and you start talking, then he's going to be like, hey, what do you want? Why are you talking to me? There was a little bit, which is weird, because you would think like Italians as a welcoming country, open and warm, and it's actually not.
I mean, that's true, though. I think what you just said, that when you travel, it's a bit different. So I think also Italians that go abroad, like all the Italians that go to Barcelona, which are mostly Romans, and
that's true.
Like, they also probably party and talk with everybody. But it's funny that.
But even when I go to the States, if I happen to be in a bar, or go to England and I'm in a bar, and you see people just start talking, and you get to know people throughout the night, and you might actually make friends.
Right.
Here it's nearly impossible. It's like,
you think it has something to do with the culture of not trusting others because you think they're going to screw you over?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons could be. And I don't know, something about like, I don't know. I don't know how. I think it's just culture. It's a cultural thing. Like you go out with your friends and that's it.
I mean, I guess it depends also where you go. I'm sure in Sicily it's probably a bit different than it's here in Rome.
I hope so, probably, yeah.
But
probably Rome
have to try that.
Yeah, I don't know. I must try. But even when I was in Turin, of course I was working with the people I was working. I would hang out with them. But even if you go out, it's really hard to like make new friends and stuff out of nowhere. Unless you already know them or you have someone in contact with them, then you can make friends with them.
Yeah, it's always. But one thing I noticed, for example, is like if there's two guys, friends, and he meets another friend of his or her, very often they say hi to each other, but don't introduce
the other guy.
Yeah. There's something weird that happens.
Really? I don't know.
I've noticed it a few
times. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because when I'm with friends, I always introduce them.
Sure.
This is my friend, but
so do I.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think now if it happens to me like
if I'm invited with an Italian group, for example, it's only Italians. It's a strange thing I noticed.
Yeah, probably if it's a big group, they will be a little bit more cold about it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that.
But they're not really cold. It's normal, nobody's offended by it.
Yeah, no. But it would be nice if you introduced them.
As to say, boo.
Yeah.
So what's up for the future then? So you mentioned a bit before that you were looking into counseling a bit.
Yeah, well, that's something I would like to do. So I'm thinking of starting a counseling company for restaurant business, 360 degrees, because I've got a lot of contacts, even like as, I don't know, like lawyers or architects, specifically for restaurant business, like people I've been working throughout the years with. So I think it would be nice if you can manage to get these professional figures in contact with people that need these figures, just try and be the link between all these people.
Right.
So if you're opening a business or restaurant and you don't have a clue of what you're doing, or even if you just need to change your menu and you're like, I want to change the menu and do something different, you contact me. Like I have the chefs, I have the bartenders. If you need staff too, I can help because I got a lot of people I know for staff and stuff. And I think it would be a good business, a good idea, something that will satisfy me.
Right.
And it will start getting me a little bit out of the restaurants, because after a while being in the restaurant all day, it's really nice, really fun, as I said before, but you start getting tired of that too after a while. So if I imagine myself when I'm 40, 45 still in a restaurant, I don't know if I still want to be there. So I'll probably want to be doing a different kind of job,
And so you envision this for like all kinds of businesses, the counseling part, like from small family-owned businesses to huge chains, or?
Well, yeah, because the small family-owned businesses, they're actually probably one of the ones that need more help with like the science behind the restaurant business.
Right.
So all the like calculating food costs. I remember I did a course. I was already working as a food and beverage manager at T-Bone, and I did this course. I don't know why. It was just. I found it. I was like, I'll try and see if there's anything interesting or some like small things that I'm missing that can help me out. So I went to do this course. That was a 3-day like intensive course on food and beverage management. Of course, I started off and like first thing we introduced us, or like we all introduced, like it was all like small family-run businesses.
Right.
A lot of them from Puglia, from the south, that came to Rome to do this course. And they were obviously having problems running their restaurant, or too much money going out, not too much money coming in, or whatever it was. But this was specific on food and beverage management and calculating food costs and managing that food cost and how to properly do it. And of course, I just did the first day, because then I was talking to the teacher during the break, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Like, this, you already know all this stuff." I was like, "Yeah," but I just came because I thought like, if there was anything interesting,
maybe see it from a different angle or something.
Yeah, see if there's some new stuff I can learn and stuff, And that's when I realized that a huge amount of restaurants, because this teacher told me, like, I teach a huge amount of just small family-run businesses, because those are the ones that do not know. Big companies, of course, they've studied, they've got the experience, they've got probably people that have experience,
right?
So they know more about the science behind the the restaurant business or food business. The small ones don't, because they're probably people that just had that restaurant for 40 years. 40 years ago, it was called completely different, because there were fewer restaurants. They were all used to work a lot. Like, there was full. Now you have so many, especially like in Rome, but even everywhere else. There's so many restaurants now, and you have so much competition, and it's just so easily to get them. When you have less customers, you have to be really, really careful at your expenses, because you have to like count them properly. And there are probably people that are like, okay, I'm gonna make a carbonara. How much? Like 10 euros. And you probably don't even know that it's more expensive or less expensive. So you can lower the price or raise the price. Which is, it's important always to pay the right price. It's not
Right.
because you can even sell carbonara for 15, but then you're probably not gonna have many people coming in to eat that pasta for 15 euros unless you're doing something magnificent about it.
Right.
I don't know, some weird stuff.
Pour gold on top of it or something.
Yeah,
Like the guy does with the steaks.
Exactly, so that kind of stuff, exactly. So it's even important to get the right price. So what's your food cost, or what should it be? Like between 20%, 25, maximum 30 if you're going into steaks and other businesses. So 20%, 25% would be the right amount. So if you if it costs €2, you sell it for 10, basically. You know, so
Right.
that's 20%, 25%, 25. Not much.
And is throwing away food a big issue in restaurants? Like, it shouldn't be probably. So I suppose that part of the calculation is just to avoid exactly that you throw away food and
you always have to consider that you're going to have a little bit of stuff thrown away. Like, I don't know, for example, tiramisu. It's something that you have to make fresh. Like, you can keep it for 2 days. At the third day, you have to throw it out.
Right.
Because it's not good anymore. And the quality is not good. It's not going to hurt you or anything, but it's not good.
It's just not like 2 days
It
ago.
starts going down. It's not the same consistency. So you make it in the morning. It's better to sell it for the evening or the morning after. The evening after, you're already like, I think you should start like consider throwing it out.
Because it amazes me that people still have to throw out things in big restaurants. I saw it like 2 or 3 days ago. They actually checked a luxury restaurant and they were like selling premium beef apparently or something like that, or steaks. But they found out they were all expired. So
Yeah, that happens because if you have some specific product that you don't sell that much, but you still have to have it because that's the whole thing. You don't know what you're gonna sell. Like with pasta, it's easy because you have the pasta, you have the guanciale and stuff. You just have to mix it and serve it. With steaks, say for example, you have a specific cut like a Kobe or Wagyu or whatever, and which is expensive, but you want to put it on the menu because you think you're gonna sell it, but you buy it, but if you don't sell it because no one's buying it, then you have to throw it out. But it's so much of an expensive product that you don't want to. That's probably why they were keeping it in premium beef, because they're so expensive that they're going to try and not throw it out. It's all like.
So technically, if you have these products in your freezer, but you just forgot to throw them out and they're expired, but you're technically not serving them.
Oh no, you're still going to.
Do you still get a fine?
Yeah.
So you have to make
it's
sure
actually
that even
it's really bad.
It's like that on purpose, so that because
they,
of course they don't know.
Of course they're going to be like, yeah, who tells me that you're not going to sell it? Like
Right.
probably the next customer comes in, you're going to sell him that stuff. So once it's expired, you have to throw it out. Like it has to be gone. Actually, you're supposed to send it back to the supplier.
Oh, okay. So there's a whole control mechanism behind.
Yeah,
the whole
you
thing.
should do. Yeah, many people just throw it out and just pretend it's gone. But legally, not legally, for like hygiene reasons, you're supposed to like note it, send it back to the supplier as
Right.
expired product, because then the supplier has a way to like get rid of it and stuff.
And just a few weeks ago, they did like this whole control on like what did they call it, ristoranti esoterici or something like that. So they had like went to sushi bars. I'm not sure what the Italian name is for that, but they went to sushi bars and ethnic restaurants,
Ethnici, yeah.
not esoterici, ethnic restaurants, and a lot of them were shut down for lack of respect. But I wonder how can this still happen in 2019, because they must know that sooner or later somebody's going to come check. And are the laws too tight, or do you think there's really a lot of...
I think there's actually the hygiene controls in Italy are pretty strict. Like they're pretty...
I read somewhere that maybe the strictest in the world or something, or amongst the strictest anyway.
Yeah. Well, probably not on the restaurants itself, but on the suppliers, they're really strict.
Okay.
When I was working on T-Bone, one of my jobs was even go up to the butchers that were preparing the meat. So I'll go and check how they're cutting the meat and check if they're using the right meat, the quality and stuff. And they used to tell me that they'll have like 3-4 controls every week, basically, and like proper ones. They'll come in like 10 people and just check every corner. If it was clean, not clean. They'll check even all the stuff if their nails were clean and all that. So they're pretty rough. They have a lot of here. It's kind of normal because the HACCP, which is Hazard
Yeah. You always see that hanging on the walls of the bars. And
that's basically now international. Like it's the same that they use in the States. Well, it's a thing that came from the States.
Okay.
And it's because the United States is really good on like on the science behind restaurant businesses. That's where you get most of all the stuff is from the States. They're actually not on the quality and making food, but on the science of it, they're really good. And so that's kind of, I think, kind of international now. Like all the major, like Europe and United States, all use it. So I would think that's more or less the same. It's just how much attention that the people working in the place put on it. But yeah, I've seen really bad restaurants, like places that were really dirty. They didn't care, had like things that were not.
Do your employees or do people in general working in that field still have to take an exam in food hygiene? Because I think 12 or 13 years ago I actually participated in an exam because I was dreaming of.
You do a course though.
Okay, there was a course and then there was an exam at the end of the course, and.
No, they still do it. No, I'm saying like you still do it. They do. It's basically you have this counselor that comes like and does the whole course, and he starts asking questions.
And then we get like a license.
And
after
then you get
that.
like a certificate.
But it was a joke back then when I did the course because we did that exam after the course. We were all sitting there. I didn't even speak Italian back then properly. Like not that I speak it properly now, but back then I really didn't understand what I was doing. And so the tester saw that, and he walked by and he was like. 3 F. So he basically gave me the answers. Like the tester gave me the answers.
Well, because that should be done properly. Unfortunately, that's not done properly because they just.
That was in Abruzzo, by the way. So
no, it's just that they. It's just like you need to do it, but you need to do it by law. So it's all like an organized thing. You pay them for the course they're doing. They give you the certificate so people can work. But hopefully they should learn something. But then I think it's really up to the manager or the owner of the place to then actually teach this stuff to the staff. Like I have the guys that are working in the kitchen, they always have this like book where they keep all the expiry dates of all the products with the number of the production number, and they have
so nothing can expire.
Well, if it does, but at least you know what the stuff. And it's even because if someone feels sick, like comes and eats something and feels sick because of some problem, you need to retrace that product back to the supplier because you don't really know what it might be. So it's even important for the customers, you know. And it's important to be clean in the kitchen, really important because there's so many places like corners that people don't think about cleaning. So it's important like once a week you do a proper cleaning of the whole. You have to be like organized about it. You have to. Be
What's good products to clean a kitchen while we're at it for a pragmatic aspect? Also for me, for cleaning my kitchen, you know, is there anything
vinegar,
good to
white vinegar? No, I'm kidding. No, you have to buy like properly.
Like you have industrial products, I suppose, that are not in the.
Yeah, it's like these products are called igienizzante, so sanitizer basically. It's one that kills all the germs. So you have to spray it. You leave it there for 5 minutes, then you just pass a tissue or napkin or whatever, and you just wipe it off, and that's supposed to be the one that kills the bacteria and stuff. And you're supposed to use that once a day. Like once like when you close and you clean up the kitchen, you will use it. Throughout the day, you can use just like multi-purpose cleaners and stuff like if you need to. But no, there's nothing, no secret.
No secret.
No, there's no secret. You just need to be cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need to clean properly and just be careful about it. But even there, the fridges, like I go to places and the fridges that have the, what's it called, guarnizione?
The isolation, not isolation, the rubber.
The rubber thing, yeah. You find them, that's like a small thing, you always have to clean it. And that's one of the things that the police, when they, like the organization, when they come to control, they always
because the mold.
Because it forms mold.
Usually goes in there, right?
And that can affect the stuff in the fridge.
Right.
And it's so easy because you just get a piece of paper with the product, you spray it on, and you just go for like 3 seconds.
If you do it every day, yeah.
If you do it, like even once, just do it once a day when you're closing and cleaning up the fridge and cleaning it out.
Once a day, right.
You just do it. Or even just once a week at least. It's just so quick and no one does it. It's just being careful at these small details, you know?
Right.
I've been to restaurants and you open it and they're all broken and they all like got stuff in it. I was like, oh my God.
Jesus.
Yes.
Not going to eat in there. Is there anything in Italy, because I saw that in some countries they have like kind of a program that if you have food that's expired or is about to expire but you can't use it anymore, that they bring it to kind of a shelter or something, or that they kind of collect it and then distribute it amongst the poor or something. Is there anything like that in Italy that you know of? Or
I don't know. There must. I hope there is one. Something. I've never heard of anything. No.
I know in Germany a guy started a website where you can send your food. I'm not sure if by law that's something that would be flying in Italy.
Yeah, because you're sending expired food.
Right. But oftentimes food is expired, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
So
you have 2 types of expiries. There's one like is expired when it's actually gone because what they do is they analyze the food after that date, and they know how much the bacteria has influenced the product. And the other one that says consumare preferibilmente entro, so consume preferably before that date.
Okay.
That means that you can still eat it after that date, but it's at your own risk, so they don't take responsibility. But what they do is they analyze that the bacteria in that's produced in that stuff is not harmful for you totally, but it will get worse and worse after that day. So it's up to you if you're going to eat it or not. So they don't it's just do not take responsibility on that, you know. So they might kind of sell that stuff, because that stuff is, you can, like, it's even yogurts. I eat, when I'm at home, I eat yogurts that are expired for 2 or 3 days. I don't care. It's not bad for you. It's like never ever happened.
Or you just sniff and the visual test, I suppose, and a taste test if it tastes soft.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can eat it.
Nice. It's funny also, like, a lot of people, they put the stuff, they buy stuff at the market and put it in and store it the wrong way. Like, I used to store things the wrong way for years. Like, for example, I think tomatoes, you're not supposed to put them in the fridge.
Well, the fridge is going to slow down the maturation. Of course, it's better to keep them outside, but even depends, because
certain vegetables don't go together because they fruits that form molds and stuff.
Yeah, there are some, like, it's like the famous thing of bananas shouldn't be mixed with other fruits, because the bananas have this stuff that makes other fruits go bad quicker. I think the best thing is always just to buy little stuff day by day and just eat it. I think that's the best choice. That's what I usually do. I just get, like, maximum for a couple of days, but not more than that. Then just go and do it. That's what we do in the restaurant business. Like, you get less stuff and just order it every day, so you always have the fresh stuff.
Right. I know a guy who brought this to the extreme. Like, he refused to use a fridge, and so he literally buys everything fresh every day. And if he needs a fridge, he's not buying it. So he's a very radical.
I don't know. Fridges.
I mean, there was a time when there was no fridges, you know.
Yeah.
So
no, of course, yes. That's when they invented other ways of maintaining products like Parma ham and stuff, you know? And well, if you're buying it and then eating it straight away, it's fine, of course. But if you're like buying a chicken breast and you're gonna eat it in the night and you're gonna leave it out for 4 or 5 hours, the bacteria in that product is gonna start reproducing and getting bigger and bigger. The fridge just slows it down, of course. The freezer slows it even more down.
So I have a question. What would you suggest to people who go to a restaurant or a bar? What should they look for if they want to find out
if it's a good place?
I mean, that's TripAdvisor and all these kind of things, but they can be faked as well.
Yeah, well, they can be faked.
What are like signs, clear signs?
Well,
you should avoid the place.
Of course, as I said at the beginning of the service, so if you have to be welcomed when you get in. Like, you need to be greeted. Of course, I understand that many restaurants may be like working a lot, but even if, like, say for example, the waiter's all like working, the manager is doing something else, because it happens, and then people just walking. At least the waiters, that's why I always tell them, like, even just like nod your face,
acknowledge you.
No, let them know that you've seen them.
Right.
So that's important, because I hate the thing that when I walk in a restaurant, they're just all looking around and
it drives me mad. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and I'm the guy that stands there until I'm like, I don't just walk in and just sit down somewhere. That's something I hate, because I hate it when I do it at my place. So I do not do that. I just like get in, even if I'm sitting outside. I'm like, go first in, and I'm like, can I just sit outside? And they say, yes, I just sit down. I just not just sit down, because I find that like disrespectful kind of. But so that is one thing. Toilets. That's always, as they say, the business card of the restaurant.
So my grandfather always used to say, look at the toilet of a restaurant and you know what the kitchen looks like.
Exactly. No, it's really important. Of course, even there, you can have restaurants that have been working like a huge amount throughout the night. You get people that go to the toilet and leave like stuff everywhere. It is hard, but what we used to do even at the T-Bone, we used to have like the checklist. And so every 2 hours, the guy that was washing the dishes knew that he had to go and check the toilet. So the manager or the guy working, usually it was me, the manager, I would just like go and have a wander around, see if it's okay. If it's something to do, I call the guy and just like go and click the toilet. But that's really important. It's like important to keep the toilets clean. I hate it when you're going in a of course I have problems at the pub because I get people drunk and it's not pleasant.
All kinds of
It's not pleasant sometimes.
I've seen some of those results sometimes.
Yes, exactly. But when it's already 1 o'clock and I'm closing, I'm not gonna like get people to clean people that like, it's awful. Anyway, I don't want to get into the details of that. So that, and another thing I always like, when they bring you bread and olive oil at the beginning, right? If the bread and the olive oil are good, that means the food usually is good quality.
Okay.
The olive oil especially. because you have to care. But I'm a big fan of olive oil. I love olive oil, and I hate it when they bring you, like, if you go in a nice restaurant, they bring you like cheap stuff. Because
like from Lidl, like some off-the-shelf
exactly,
olive oil.
You can just smell it. You can smell it. You just...
How do I know if an olive oil is good though? It's like experience too?
Well, it even depends on the taste. Like the people that like the more like delicate one. I like the one that's a little bit spicy on the tongue and has like nice fruit intense flavor. And
what do you think of mixed olive oils, like the ones that they produce with different providers in Europe? Is it like a total no-go for you, or?
No, I don't get it. No. I don't know where those olives are coming from. And it's not because I want to be like, I don't want to buy stuff from Spain. I don't care. But the problem is that most of the olives come, apparently, I don't know, I can't say, but they say that most of the olives probably come from Africa because they then move into Spanish territories in Africa, and then they labeled there as European because that's Spanish territory. Because
they worked them and then maybe or processed them or something.
Yeah, and then they moved back into Europe. But I don't know what was going on the other side of the border, and I don't know what products they've been using. Of course, they could do the same in Italy. I'm not saying that in Italy they're perfect, of course. But I just hope that we have a little bit more like controls on the situation here. So between the two things, I'll just go for the least worst, you know. I don't believe that they're that controlled over here too, and I still believe that they do a lot of like use wrong products and stuff because, of course, it's more like cheaper. At the end of the day, it's always about business, you know.
Sure, about the money.
It's all about the money, and I just go for one that I think is like the least worst, which I hope is the Italian one. I don't know.
All right, so bread and olives, when the olive oil.
I always notice that, like when I sit down and they bring me a little bread. Of course, if there's a restaurant that don't bring it, you're not going to try it. But you know, there's restaurants that always bring you a little bread, and you have the olive oil set up. I always try a little bit of olive oil on bread and see, and if that's.
I find it suspicious when they bring you a prosecco or something right away. But I noticed that my suspicion sometimes was a bit exaggerated, and they actually really
exactly.
In the
that's
price
what I was saying. Like service about details. Like I've worked in restaurants where we would bring like a small little tiny snack as a welcome gift, but it wasn't because we were trying to hide anything. It was just because we wanted to give a little welcome.
A welcome, right?
Yeah.
But because some restaurants they use the trust of the people and they welcome you, and then they make you pay 10 euros more for it afterwards. You know,
it could be. Yeah. Well, you have to.
And I've had that too. So
unfortunately, the restaurant business until you've actually had the whole night, unless you've eaten and had the whole night, you can't really tell that much. You can have a place which you like aesthetically, like you're like, oh, this is a nice place. I like the atmosphere. I like the vibe that you have in this place. Like I prefer like restaurants that are more like trattoria, like more like Roman traditional places. That's
like a restaurant in the countryside, almost very
and the countryside
simple,
restaurants. Yeah, I don't like the fancy
too.
stuff. I don't like all this new stuff that's going on with this all like modern stuff.
Oh, these young kids.
No, I don't know. That's for me. That I like to go to those places.
Okay.
I like that kind of style, and because I don't know. For me, going to a restaurant is more like a traditional, especially for Roman food. You know, if I want to go for carbonara, I want to go in a like really traditional place that looks traditional anyway, but they still serve the good stuff. And but of course, you do get like good. A lot of now restaurants are opening with this more modern look and stuff, which actually do a lot of good food. Because those other places actually sometimes are paying more attention.
Like modern look, you mean this kind of sterile,
minimalized
environment, with bright lights and all these things?
No, because you still have like new places opening with this more modern look, but still keeping the traditional feel to it. You know, that's the one I kind of like. I don't really trust the old restaurants anymore, like the ones that have been open for 50 years, because I don't really know if they still do the good stuff. I don't really go there that much. I got those few restaurants I know which I like and I go to, and
all right.
Some of them, of course, I've worked in, so I know what I'm eating. I know what's going on behind the kitchen. So yeah. And it's the feeling you get once you walk in the restaurant. It's the first feeling you get, and that's important to decide. You can't really know what, because you might have, because I was thinking like, especially in Rome, you can see from the menu, you see if it's a really touristic menu.
Well, if it says tourist menu already on the menu,
I'm going to avoid that. Yeah. I'm not going to go into that place. It might actually be good. I don't know.
It might, actually.
But I'm not going to go. I'm not going to try.
Or somebody's outside trying to call people in, like, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Want to come inside and eat?
So while I was working in the restaurant in Piazza Navona, we had that kind of guy outside, which I didn't like.
like a bouncer the other way around. What do you call it?
La Chiappino.
La Chiappino, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I never liked it because I always have that kind of feeling like it's probably a tourist trap, that place,
Right.
because they're just trying to get people in.
Because the feeling is if they need a person to call you in,
Exactly.
the place must be terrible, you know?
Exactly. That's what I thought. But we were working with a guy like that when I was in Barcelona, but the food was actually really good. But I understood that the point of him was he was more like a greeter. He was the one that would just go around. You always used to take the order too. Like you would take care of. You'd be there like, oh, come, food, drinks, whatever. And then you'll like actually chat with them. He was just old fella. He was really like entertaining. So it was a different kind of feeling. But yeah, I don't really usually trust those kind of places that have the person outside or they have written tourist menu like bruschetta, pizza, and drink for 10 euros. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. No, I'm not going for that. Yeah, so that's one thing important, I think, to avoid.
All right. Well, I think we have a good amount of material here for this podcast today. So I think we can. Personally, I learned a lot of stuff. So I thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the time to coming here. I know that you are super busy.
It was my pleasure.
And where can they find stuff, a website maybe to your businesses or to stuff that you're currently doing?
Well, now I still haven't started anything of the other business. The public house is my pub, that's where I'm at now.
And the website is thepublichouserome.com, right?
Yeah. thepublichouserome.com, yeah.
And also all the social media links. I think you're on Instagram, Facebook, and all the spiel. So I'm gonna also
on Public House Rome.
I'm gonna also publish that under the YouTube video. And so if anything else comes to mind, send it over. I'm going to add it to the description.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
And people will be able to listen to this on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and we're going to also publish this video on the YouTubes. So we will find all the links and descriptions there. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for coming here.
Thank you,
It's a great pleasure to have you here. Amazing. All the best for the future. I hope, I'm sure you're going to be very successful, even more so than you are already.
Thank you.
And thanks to everybody who was watching and listening. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Hey you still around? Well, if you enjoyed the contents from this video, make sure to click on the subscribe button below and you will instantly feel very, very, very satisfied. You can also click on the video links on the left side for more awesome episodes from the Heysal podcast. Click now. Subscribe. Yeah. Do it. Do it now.